So you're saying that Superman and Lois was a little bit easier actually than Grimm.
I would say shooting wise, yeah, it was easier. Uh, as an actor, Superman and Lois was a lot harder. I always joke because I'm somebody who can cry on screen.
Easily.
And yeah, I mean, yeah. But I have to stay in it. And it was interesting. I did a movie called Chronic with Tim Roth, amazing Mexican director, Michelle
man.
Franco. And we were doing this crying scene, and it was before we started filming. And he pops into the green room where I was, and he goes, "Save it," in his awesome accent. He's like, "Save it." And I was younger, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "We're doing this so many times, save it." And he also goes, "Stay well hydrated." Because, and so I immediately started drinking water, and I kind of stopped it. But when I have really emotional scenes, I have to put my earbuds in and go off into a corner. And otherwise, I'm shooting the shit. I'm talking. Tyler and I are the same way. We'll be fucking around, messing around, teasing each other. And then they yell action and we drop it.
That's how I work.
Yeah. And some people don't work that way. So it was nice that he and I kind of had the same, that we.
You could joke. You're like, "Oh my God, that's great." It's like, listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except for, but I always joke that when producers or writers realize an actor can actually cry, it's like they want to see it every episode.
I know.
And there was an episode, season 1, where Lois had, and this is one of the things that I feel like really distinguishes our show as far as the superhero universe. It was so grounded in reality. And they had written an episode, I forget what it's called, but it was season 1, episode 8. And she has a miscarriage, right? And it was tying together this storyline that was going to happen at the end of season 1, where Lois has had a daughter named Natalie on another Earth. And I called Todd Helbing, our showrunner, and I said, "Can we make it?" Because I've had so many friends who've had fertility struggles that are awful, just really heartbreaking stuff, including 2 stillborns that were otherwise healthy pregnancies and late-term miscarriages. And so I called Todd and I said, "If we're going to do this, can we make it a late-term miscarriage?" And when we're showing the the son Jonathan, photos of the twins, can we make sure that there's a visibly pregnant Lois, so that it's just makes it that much more difficult?
Yeah.
But that episode had a lot of emotional.
So you weren't fun on that episode.
It was a bottle episode, and no, it was not fun.
No,
it was heavy, and I think people, it was like that, and also with the cancer story arc, which was the main arc for season 3, there was a lot of trepidation about going there on a superhero series, but the fans loved it, and I would say I cannot tell you how often at Comic-Cons people come up to me. I'd say at least 1 in 8, 1 in 10, who have cancer, have lost someone to cancer. The last con I went to, there were 3 people whose wives had passed away from breast cancer 6 months earlier. I mean,
and you're
how
a big
specific is
advocate
that?
for breast cancer too. You've spoken a lot about it.
Yeah, and particularly I would recommend personally, because I interviewed so many women who had either had it or currently had breast cancer, getting ready for the storyline. 3 or 4 of them, I think I spoke to 11 women. 3 or 4 of them had been diagnosed in their 20s or around 30. So right now the recommendation is to start getting mammograms and stuff at 40. And in my opinion, it should honestly be 35. And obviously if there's a family history, do it as soon as you.
How many have you had?
Mammograms?
Yeah.
3. And I found out that I have dense breast tissue, which I didn't know about. And here's the other.
What does that mean?
This is the fucked up thing. Because in my head, when I was thinking dense breast tissue, like my boobs are not enormous. It just didn't make sense. But basically, your tissue is just kind of harder. So on a mammogram, all of your boob reads almost as cancerous. So it's hard to spot cancer. So they recommend, if you have dense breast tissue, doing an ultrasound. The fucked up thing, and again, I've talked a lot about this, is that most insurance companies do not require ultrasounds. And I feel like if you've been diagnosed, if you have dense breast tissue, they should automatically have to cover breast ultrasounds
100%.
as well. The other thing I talk about a lot is men get breast cancer too. So if there's a history of breast cancer in your family, men should, if, get tested for the BRCA gene. Did your mom pass away
Feeling
from?
myself.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that was actually a storyline on A Million Little Things. There was a character on A Million Little Things who, James Roday.
Love James.
Yeah, James is the best.
Great guy.
Such a good director too. But his character had breast cancer, and he met his, down the road love interest at a breast cancer group.
Wow. Back to the crying, and then we'll get over the crying. But what goes on in your mind when you need to get emotional? What music are you listening to? What are you thinking? Is there a trigger point that can just get you right into it?
Now, I'm not the kind of actor. I'm definitely not method, but I also am not this person that's thinking of how sad I was when my dog died or how sad I was when my grandfather died. I'm in character. So in that moment when I was doing the miscarriage storyline or the cancer stuff, or I really am, I just feel it in my bones. And a lot of that is probably my training, which is Stella Adler, which is, you do a lot of history on your character. And, when I was studying, and I don't know if you know this, but I didn't even start acting till I was about 24. I
didn't know that.
Zero interest.
Wow.
In fact, I had so little interest that I was down in Australia working, some whatever job with a girlfriend shooting when they were shooting Star Wars Clone Wars. This was in 2000, the summer of 2000. And George Lucas and I really bonded because I was on set a lot. And also I'm a snacker and so is he. And I'd sit next to him a lot while he was directing. And he's like, let me put you in. I got to put you in as, what do you want to be? And I was like, no, sorry. Because I was such an
George
academic.
Lucas is saying, be in my movie.
Yeah. I mean, not as a big role.
No, but still,
Yeah.
George Lucas tells you to wipe his ass. I might consider it.
And I